Hi, Shanika. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. I appreciate that. That doesn't always happen.
Of course. I love to ask about other people's days, see how their mind is working.
Right, right, right. So it's been about a week and a half since we last talked. Why don't you catch me up on what's been going on since then?
So just the regular working, my full-time job and part-time job. The workload itself has been like a little more than usual since my co-producer left and got a new job in Birmingham. Great for her, but also more work for me. So just getting to work earlier and not really staying later, but my days are more
Mm,
packed. So I'm busy like literally from the time I get to the news station to the time I leave, basically. So the days go by fast, but the days are more draining.
yeah, I can imagine so.
Emotionally. Yeah, definitely. So, and then just little, I'm not even gonna say altercations, but just little incidents with coworkers that are just kind of like annoying.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. So maybe like a week or two ago, the workload for me as a producer, producing a live show is a lot as it is. So I'm putting together the entire show. I'm editing video for the show. I feel like I'm already doing a lot and people expect me to do even more. And it's just like, why? Like, I get that I'm good at my job. I know that. I'm well aware of that. But like, I shouldn't be getting punished and like, oh, you handle everything so well. Let me add more to your plate. It's just like, I'm also human. I get tired and I also have another job. Like, and
Right.
I'm still doing a lot and I'm doing it well at the same time, but you're adding more to my plate. So it just it that's been irritating me and just agitating me. There was an instance a couple weeks ago where it really just like, okay. So my former co-producer left about, what's today? Today's April what, 18th?
Mm-hmm.
So she's been gone probably like almost a month now. And it's been pretty fine. She was the one that would like book the guests for the show, and she would just like basically be the liaison for the guests, like getting all the stuff we need for them so we can put it on air, like the pictures and writing the interviews and doing the web stories and stuff like that. So that was her realm, and I would handle everything else with the show.
Right.
So, um, since she's been gone, me and my anchor for the show have been like splitting up her job. So the anchor has been like filling up our guest calendar, and she'll do like the initial contact, get them a date on the calendar, and then I'll follow up with all the logistic directions and stuff they need to send us and whatever, like via email. So I'm sending out a lot of emails now. Can I curse in this?
Yes, this is your space, your
Okay.
this is your time.
Okay. Good to know. So so yeah, so we've been doing like a pretty decent job of like trying to like break up her job and stuff. And then we have a web person from who's actually like a news web guy, but he's been like filling in doing the web story. So like cool, that's less something I don't have to worry about. But it's just been like on top of doing part of Anna, that's the former producer name who was doing like the booking stuff before she left. As a part of like doing my regular job, which is already a lot of basically like handling everything from the show from start to finish. Um, Now I'm doing parts of her job where it's like I'm having to interact with more people and I'm having to send more emails and I'm having to like edit more video and make more um we call them fonts, but they're like just the graphics you see on screen that's like a bullet list or like the little lower thirds you see on like the newscast. Like people have to
Yeah.
make those. I make those for like literally every part of the show. And I had a little bit of a break because I didn't have to deal with the interview stuff because she did that. But now I'm doing that, so it's just taking me longer to get through the show because I'm doing more stuff for the show. So I'm getting in earlier, and granted, my second job I get off at night, so the turnaround is just like, because I'm waking up probably now. Well, not probably. I am waking up at like within the 5 o'clock hour now.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's earlier, sometimes it's a little later. Maybe I can wake up closer to 6 if I'm like in a good spot. So luckily tomorrow I get to wake up a little later since I have more of the show done for tomorrow before I left today. So that's good news. But besides the point, I've been waking up earlier and I've been doing more during my day. And I'm just like not getting a lot of sleep during the week. And I try to make up for it during the weekends, but also I'm trying to live life. We're gonna get there. So
Okay.
back to the incident that just kind of like rubbed me the wrong way as far as just like workflow duties go. So while doing all of this extra work, we're also trying to interview people to fill Anna's position.
Right.
So that's also being added to our day of trying to like reach out to candidates and set up Zoom interviews and actually do the interviews, which actually takes more time out of my day from doing other stuff. So with that, my anchor would she took the reins on that and would like make initial contact, set up interview times with potential candidates, and from there we would like do the interviews together. It's just like, okay, we can tag team the Zoom interview itself, but like she would be the one that would reach out, call them, gauge interest, and then set up the interviews. So she decided that, she was just tired of doing the interview stuff. Well, not even, well, yeah, doing the interviews, but just like setting up the interview. So maybe a couple weeks ago, she comes in the newsroom and we sit side by side. Um, but I also have like, I use one of the offices that was vacant when one of our other marketing people left. So
Yeah.
that's kind of my office too. But I also like, I just switch between the office and the newsroom. So she comes in. Well, she walks to her desk and she's right beside me and she just like hands me like 2 resumes. And it's just like, hey, can you reach out to these two at some point this week? We just need to well, not even a week. It was like you can talk to them about the job, whatever. And I'm just like, what? Because she was just like, I don't think they're strong, but you could talk to them. And I'm just like, mind you, I'm busy and I'm already doing something. So side eye is like, girl, what are you saying? But also I'm like not paying attention to what you're saying, but I'm like, girl, what did you just say?
Yeah.
So I look at it and I'm just like, oh, I'll send an email, but I'm gonna CC you on it and I'm gonna say me. Well, I said in the email, I sent the email to both of the candidates and it was just like, hey, if you want to set up an interview time, myself, Peyton, who is my anchor, or both of us will interview you depending on our schedules.
Right.
And she CC'd on the email and she checks her email. So I'm just like, I know you saw it. You saw it, definitely. So I sent that out and then one of the two replied back to the email. So the whole time we're replying all. So you see this whole conversation. So we lock in a date and a time for to do a phone interview because I'm just like, okay, whatever. So mind you, she's CC'd on all of this. She sees all of this. So it's a Friday that we had decided on, well, that I decided on with the candidate. So the interview's at like 1:30. Our show ends at like noon. So I'm trying to eat and get other stuff done because I try to send out. Fridays are busy days for me now because after the show, not only am I preparing for the next week's Monday show, but now I'm trying to get call sheets out to guests for like Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday on that Friday afternoon so they can start sending us like pictures and videos and all the information we need for their interviews the following week. So my days are already like booked, but I'm like extra booked on Fridays now.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, okay, it's not giving what I need for it to give to be able to do this interview and also do all of this in the time frame that I'm trying to do it in, because I'm not trying to stay over. Like, no, it's Friday. No. So I this is when I'm in my office because I just flip flop in between. And I just like the quiet of the office because the newsroom gets very busy and just it just breaks all of my concentration.
Right.
So I go into the newsroom and she's over there editing a video, but I know what she's editing, and I'm just like, we talked to this lady like on the show today. She's editing an interview that we already did. So that's like, it's not a necessary edit. It's not something that like needs to be done. It's just like, you're doing this, you're editing this video because you want to. It's
Right.
not oh, this needs to be done. It's like you have the time to, you just want to change some stuff because you want to do it. So I go to her and I'm just like, hey, so this interview's at 1:30. Can you do it? And then, and I have a valid I'm not just saying, can you do it? It's just like, I have a valid reason. Like, I'm literally trying to get these call sheets out for the next week. And if we want to have stuff from our Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday interviews, then I need to send these out as early as possible. Since it's a Friday afternoon, people are about to be away from their computers. I need to get these out. And she's just like, well, I'm just so busy. And I'm just like, I'm busy too. And then she's
Sure.
just like, and I'm just like, busy, like, and I'm as she's saying, I'm so busy. I'm looking over her shoulder. I'm just like, that is Caitlin Chapel Rogers. We just talked to her on the show. You're editing a video for your own leisure. Like, you're doing this because you want to. It's not something that needed to be done. Meanwhile, this interview needs to be done, and these call sheets need to get done. And then she's just like, well, if I had prior, and I'm like, girl, you're on the email. You're on the email. Like, you check your emails. I know you saw it. And it was nothing. I never said I'm doing just the interviews. Like, I would be talking to you. Like, I wouldn't have CC'd you if I would have did that. I'm like, I CC'd you. I said, depending on our schedules, one or both of us might talk to you. And I left it very open ended. And I'm just like, out of the two of us, you are the most free. Because after we lost, like, consecutively lost like people in our department, like back to back to back. Like, our marketing director left, and then one of our videographers left, and then one of another marketing guy who kind of sort of did stuff for our show left. He didn't really do much actually, but that's beside the point. But he left too, and then Anna left. So it's just like, okay, all of these people are leaving, so that's less and less hands on my show, and it's more and more work for me and my team. So I say that all that to say that she's been doing less shoots, because usually after the show she would have somewhere to be because she's recording something for the show. But since we've been down a videographer, she has less places to be because our videographer is like stretched.
Right.
So he's not going many places with her. So she's in the newsroom chilling because show's done for the day. She doesn't do what I do after the show. And then, mind you, she's been telling me like, oh, we're booked out for the month. So you're not booking people because we're good for the month right now. So you don't really have to until like later in the month, really, to start going into May. So it's just like, I'm looking at you edit a video of an interview that we already did. And I'm telling you that I literally have things to do that need to be done for the sake of our shows next week. But you're so busy. And it just rubbed me entirely the wrong way because I'm just like, I'm the one literally getting here early. You're getting here at the same time that you usually do. I'm the one coming in early and putting in extra work to make sure we have a smooth show every day. Like, and I like, obviously you feel comfortable enough to keep coming in early, but it's just like the effort is not the same. So back to like that situation, it's just like it was tense. It was a tense moment because I'm literally like, girl, what? And then she's just like, well, our general manager, her name is Jama. She was just like, well, Jama told me that to tell you to do it or something like that. And it's just like, girl, first of all, if and then I was just like, this sounds like a lie because like if this would have been a Jama decision, you would have told me that the day you put those resumes on my desk, like, hey, Jama says And then, first of all, don't tell me Jama told you or Jama says. Like, nobody asked me anything.
Right.
Not
So
one question was asked.
so it sounds to me, and just I'm want to make sure that I'm getting everything correct and taking everything in correctly. It sounds to me that like you're somebody in the workplace who is dependable and people know they can depend on. And so whether it be intentionally or unintentionally, they kind of take advantage of your strengths and all that you bring without considering the links that you kind of have to go to make sure that you're doing things well.
Right.
So let me ask you this. What would a conversation expressing that to your coworkers look like? Is there
From
something?
my from my end, or like ideally how I would want to be asked.
Well, so let me try to, if you were to tell them that, kind of like saying, "Hey, I know that, I appreciate that you all put so much faith in me, but like this is all that I'm having to do, and although it looks like I make it look easy, it doesn't mean it's not hard work. And I could use a little bit of help." Is that like, first of all, is that something that you feel like you would feel comfortable asking or saying?
So to a degree, yes, but I did end up going to the general manager to talk to her probably that following week. So after that situation, I walked out of the newsroom and I did the interview in my office myself, and I'm just like that. I lost like an hour of my day, um, because of that interview. So I immediately sent the email to our general manager after I wrapped it up and was just like, "Hey, I need to talk to you about this situation today. Well, the situation today, but I set boundaries because like one, it was Good Friday for one. And I'm just like, I am not having a Good Friday right now, and I don't want to have a full conversation about this. This is gonna wait till next week. I just want to put it on your radar that hey, I have something to talk to you about next week. Not today, because I got things to do and I'm about to get out of here as soon as I do it. But next week, we're gonna talk about it. So I put it on her radar because I'm just like, since my anchor felt the need to put her name in it, I'm just like, well, I will go straight to the source and like let's see what this is
Sure,
about.
that makes
So
sense.
yeah, so in a way, I feel like I kind of did that, like when I actually did talk to the general manager that next week, where it's just like, hey, I'm doing all of this. I don't mind. Like, if we were gonna split it up, it should have been a discussion. Like, hey, can you do this? It's not a just hand me the resumes because you don't feel like doing it and say like you could talk to them. What? And that's not how we've been operating up
Yeah.
until then.
So okay, what would a conversation with your anchor look like then if you were to express these things?
Really, it would just be like, and it's not the first time where I felt like she's just been like inconsiderate of other people's like time and energy. Like
Sure.
she's very, in my opinion, from the outside looking in, she's very much I feel like she means well for the most part, but also she has just been very privileged her
Hmm.
entire life, and she's been guarded and sheltered, and now it's just like it's literally her world and we're just living in it. And I'm just like, but also she can be very sweet. So I'm just like, it's very much a like a range of emotions when dealing with her because I actually really genuinely like her most days. But it's those little things where it's just like you're inconsiderate of other people's time and opinions and differences. But I mean a conversation with her would just be like, hey, like I get that you're saying that you're busy, but also given the fact of the circumstances we're in now where it's just like you don't have as many shoots, and I see that you're like booking out further in advance, and I appreciate that, but also if we could try to compromise, don't just tell me what oh, you can do this. Don't tell me I can do anything right now. Like if you want me to do something, you need to ask me if I can do it. Because I know my schedule better than anybody.
Right. So I think a way that might get your message across better is maybe rephrasing some of those statements and making them more I statements rather than you.
Hmm.
So, how you are you familiar with that technique of using I statements when you're having difficult conversations or trying to resolve conflict?
Vaguely, but you could explain it to me for a refresher.
Okay, sure. I think I kind of want to try a little exercise with it. So essentially, let's say that me and you are friends and we have a conflict. Like say we're roommates and you come in really late and really loud. Meanwhile, I work early in the morning and I'm trying to sleep. Rather than me approaching you and saying, "Hey, you've come in so loud, it's really disrespectful." Just kind of reframing it and rephrasing the wording when approaching you and just saying, "Hey, during this time, I'm sleeping because I have to get up at whatever o'clock in the morning. And when you come in at this time and you're really rowdy, it disrupts that and makes like me less productive during the day. So is there any way we can kind of figure out a solution moving forward that works for the both of us?" And then in doing that, it kind of helps you get across that, you're telling the person what they're doing that's inconveniencing you, but you're also
Mhm.
giving kind of some backstory that's more relevant to you.
Right.
And it doesn't necessarily center them as a problem and it comes across kind of less accusatory,
Hmm.
if that makes
I
sense.
It does, and I feel like I try my best to do that because it's just like, okay, I try to put myself in other people's shoes, and it's just like, okay, if I heard this coming from someone else and I was in their shoes, I would feel slightly attacked. So I'm just like, okay, like this is why I'm trying to like compromise. Like this is why I put you on the email. This is why and then nothing was said, and I know you saw the email. I didn't
Right.
say that, but like in my head, I'm like, girl, I know you read your emails. You read your emails more than I read my emails. Like, so you saw it, you were CC'd, but also it's just like, especially like I know added stress will like sometimes like just make you less considerate of people's feelings because I'm just like I'm already stressed out and you're adding more stress. So now I just feel like I'm on the attack and I feel attacked and I feel like I want to attack back. So I try not to get to that route, but in that moment I was trying to be like, okay, like this is what I'm trying to do, but also like, girl, come on now. You know what I do.
Okay, so then let's try something. Let's pretend I'm your anchor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I work in news too. So if you were gonna use some of those I statements and express your perspective, what would that conversation look like? Let's have it.
All right. So it would go a little something like, hey, I know we've both been, work pulling extra weight since Anna left, and I understand that, and I appreciate you like scheduling out guests weeks in advance. That really helps the team. It really does. But also, as you know, or as I think you know, I've been just very just extra busy, more busy than usual with trying to get the show together for the next day. I'm attaching more video. I'm just adding more content to try to compensate for just the show itself. And just trying to get the show done. So it would help me personally, and it would take a load off of me to not have to handle um not have to handle like I guess tasks that you have typically taken on. that helps me knowing I don't have to worry about that as much. If we do have to, if it is being over, is if it is becoming overwhelming for you, we can talk about it and we can try to split it up somehow. But it needs to be a conversation, something along those lines.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good start because you're acknowledging the work that she has done. You're communicating the things that you are doing extra as well. And then you're also giving her that space to say, hey, I am struggling. I am overwhelmed if that's the case. And also offering a solution of we can have this conversation and work through it together. So you're
Mhm.
not just like attacking back like you said earlier. So I think that's really good. I think that's a really good start.
Right. And that's always the aim that I want to have for any, I'm not even gonna say conflict, just a disagreement or just like a not seeing eye to eye moment. Like generally I would prefer to compromise. I'm not trying to like attack you. If I'm saying something, it's not from a attack. I want to just attack you just to do it type of thing. It's just
Sure.
like
It's
I
not
want to,
malicious.
right, not at all. It's just like I see an issue and I know what I'm doing and I know what you have to do to an extent, but if there's more going on and I don't know what's going on, then like we can just talk about it, get some things on the table so we can move ahead on a clearer path. That's all I care about at the end of the day.
Right. And I think it's important too, like for conversations like this in a workspace like that, in that type of environment to happen,
Hmm.
because being the producer of the show, if you don't feel like you're able to be transparent, you're not comfortable enough to have these conversations, there is no show.
Right. And it's gonna suffer
E-
if I did
Exactly.
hold it all in and just like do it, but then I'm just internally seething, like of course it's gonna impact the quality of the show. So I'm just like, I'm very much one for like getting on top of things. Like I see a issue brewing, like let's address it before it like spirals.
Right. Did you ever end up, or how did the conversation with your general manager end up going?
So we had that probably we have a weekly Monday meeting, but that following Monday was like a busy one because we had like a brand new videographer. So we just had like a lot more just like a introductory meeting more so than like our regular like marketing meeting. But and then I think that ran over some. So I was like, okay, I need to get what I need to get done because on Mondays now I send out the second half of the week call sheets. So once again, my schedule is just like very much like I need to do this by this time. And if I'm trying to leave at this time, I need to do this, that, and third. So that meeting going over kind of just screwed up my plan. So I'm just like, okay, I don't have time to talk about this because I'm trying to talk about this. So I'm just gonna I'm just gonna push it back to tomorrow so I can get everything I need to get done today, go home for a little bit, go to my other job. And I'm just like, yeah, this is not gonna fit into my schedule today. So I think that next day on Tuesday, I went into her office and was just like, hey, this is what happened. So I just gave her a rundown of like the conversation we had, and I mentioned how like she said that, well, Peyton had told me that JMO said you should do it, or that you not even asked. How did she put it? JMO said that you can do it. And then Jamie was just like, I did not say that. Actually, I said that she can run it by you and y'all can see if y'all want to, like, I guess, switch it up if you wanted to do that. And I'm just like, yeah, that's not how it was introduced to me. She just handed me the resumes and said, you can talk to them. Like, your name was not mentioned in that first introduction of me doing interviews, but it was mentioned when she didn't want to do it on that Friday. I'm just like, interesting. So basically that became a whole conversation of just like um just her attitude, well, that my anchor's attitude sometimes towards like doing other things and just react how she reacts to like, I'm not gonna say work, but like how she reacts to certain things as it pertains to the show. So basically, I mean, and I left off the part where I had sent the email to Jama on that Friday when everything happened. And then she was just like, if she's trying, she replied back to me saying that if she's trying to get you to do the interviews, all the interviews by yourself, tell her no. And I'm just like, so that's why I didn't feel too inclined to like, I have to talk to her on Monday because I had already gotten that answer. And I was just like, okay. Interesting that that's how you would reply. So you already know what the line along the lines of where this conversation was going. So I'm just like, okay, cool. So I'm gonna talk about it still, but I don't feel as inclined to because I was very much heated on that Friday.
Right.
Yeah. So talked to her on that Tuesday and she kind of just reiterated that. And then she gave me an update on like where we are in the hiring process for the new producer.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was a pretty productive conversation itself. I mean, it gave me some type of confirmation where it's just like, okay, I'm not just overreacting.
Sure. So have things gotten better since then with you and your anchor?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, after that little because we've had our little one-off situations where it's just like in the moment highly irritated. I'm looking on Indeed like I hate it here type vibes. Not really, but kind of. And then I mean the next day we cool. Like I'm like, hey, it's one of those work relationships where it's just like we kind of know how each other works now, even though we like irritate each other some days because I'm just like, I'm sure I irritate her too because I know my attitude. I have a little attitude too some days, especially when she asks me too many questions at the wrong time. I'm just like, why? So I feel like we both know each other's like quirks enough to the fact where it's just like, okay, that's just how you are. And if we just give each other a little space, we'll be good the next day. Cool.
I was just asking because I wanted to kind of make sure that you're keeping that in mind too, because the workspace, like I said, especially with you being the producer, is not a good space for you to not be peace. Because as a producer,
Mm-hmm.
you have to be productive.
Right.
And you can't be productive with people who, you feel like you have pent up energy towards.
Right.
Excuse me.
You're
Um,
fine. But yeah,
so
I don't think I have any. I mean, there's definitely been like a couple times where it's just like it's lingered for more than a couple days, but usually it just like kind of wears off, and then I'm just like, okay, I'll just limit my interactions with you to just like being work related. But then, like, usually we kind of work it out. I mean, more often than not, it'll end in like, I'm sorry about, how I said this or that or the third. Um, there is one time where she like it was big. Not well, yeah, it was big. I literally walked out in the middle of her talking during because I didn't like how she was talking to me, but that was like months ago. But also, it still kind of lingered into like the like, okay, I don't
like
like how you talk to me. I never got an apology for it, and I'm just like, okay, noted. But it still hasn't like affected the work relationship because because I care about the product that I put out. At
right.
the end of the day, I care about that more than any petty little arguments we usually have.
That's you don't feel like that not getting that sorry has affected your relationship with her enough to be super impactful of
No,
what you consider important?
mm-mm. Because at the end of the day, it's like this is my job. Like this doesn't impact me personally in any way, shape, or form. So as long as I put on a good show, which I make sure of, I don't like I yeah, you it would have been nice to get an apology, but also it's not gonna be like a deciding factor of like how I'm gonna do my job moving forward. It's just like
Okay.
it'll impact how I interact with you personally, But as far as like getting this show done and this job, it's like that's gonna stay the same.
That makes sense. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you are able to navigate these situations. Do you feel any different now that you've gotten to kind of like talk some of that out and express it out loud?
A little bit, because at one point I was just like, maybe I might be overreacting. Like maybe maybe I was just a little I'm just like, but like I would think about it, I'm just like, no, I feel like I had every right to feel at least some type of way about that, because I mean, it's just like, especially like knowing, like I know my show and I know what you're over here editing. I'm just like, that already ran today. Like that's not something you have to do. It's just something that you want to do to go on the website, but our web guy isn't even here yet. So that could literally, that's not something that's a dire thing for you to do right now. So I'm just like, so I was just like, maybe I'm just being sensitive or whatever. But I'm just like, no, I think I have a right to feel this way, and I'm gonna address it with who I need to address it to. So just getting the outside perspective of someone who's not in the news station or not a manager, it's just like, okay.
Yeah. I think I think you do a really good job of like not taking things personally and setting boundaries when it comes to work.
Mm-hmm.
Um I also heard in everything that we've talked about today so far a lot about how much energy that you're putting out because you do have two jobs, and everything you put into those jobs. So I kind of want to gauge like what your self care is like, because I know
So
you said you don't get a lot of sleep either.
yeah, especially during the week, like I'm probably averaging like maybe on a good day 5.5 ish. Now, if I get 6 hours, I'm like, oh, I'm lit. This is great. But and I feel like I'm generally someone who like probably needs about 6.5, 7. I mean, I feel like 7 is like the average, isn't it? Like you should be getting 7 hours of sleep
Yeah,
a night.
around 7 to 8.
Yeah. So it's just like I'm definitely functioning, and I feel like I'm highly functioning to be able to like still maintain energy throughout the day where I have to talk to people for a living, and then throughout the night where I'm still interacting with people and just students, and of course like they're unloading their lives on me, and I'm just like actually being able to like mentally still be competent enough to like give advice and basically low-key be a mentor. But my self-care itself, I want to get in the habit of like just actually like dedicating for real time, like this will be like self-care Sunday. Like I've tried to like incorporate like self-care Sundays since I have a little bit more time, and Saturdays where it's just like, okay, I just have a slow start to the day, just like enjoy actually being in my bed for a little bit, even though it's not like really self-care, but it's like actually just trying to catch up on rest because I deserve it.
That is self
uh
care, and you do deserve it.
Thank you. But I feel like I want to do more like little spa, little face mask stuff, just like, just enjoy like a little cup of wine and have my little face mask and get my little mask or massage thing. Just like those type of things are like my ideal, like self-care Sunday, start the week off fresh type of vibes. But as of now, it's just really like trying to like prioritize. I want to get more like active as far as like, okay, trying to clear my mind, trying to just healthy body, healthy mind type mindset. But yeah, that's really
Extent
the
of it.
yeah, as of now.
Okay, so our time is kind of getting to a point where we're gonna have to start winding up or wrapping up really soon. So um Do you mind if I give you a little bit of homework, a little bit of a challenge? You're gonna
Sure.
like it, I promise. Well, let me not promise that. I'm gonna hope that you like it. But it's gonna be for your benefit. Let's do
Okay.
that. So what I want you to do you have paper and pen or something you could take notes on?
Um, LOL. Oh, well, yeah, hold up. Oh, where is my little notebook? Yeah. Ah, please ignore me struggling.
It's okay.
Let's take this out. Yeah, my little bun has come completely apart. LOL. It's fine.
Alrighty. So what I want you to do is write down 3 of those things that you just said to me that you would like to incorporate for your self-care,
Mm-hmm.
or you can do 1 or 2, whichever seems more achievable, and then tell me what those are really quickly.
Okay. Face mask. So as of now, I really want to start incorporating more face masks, just relaxation type things. I
Mhm.
also want to like schedule like more massages. The last time I got a massage was like my birthday last year, and I want to do that regularly. Regular massage appointments. That would be great. And I want to do yoga or like something to stretch my mind. Well, my mind, well, my body.
I mean, your mind is also a part of that because it's like a meditation thing. You have to be in a certain mindset to fully benefit from it. So
Right.
your mind works. So you have those 3 things you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Now I want you to write down the first step in actually achieving those, and then about when you think you would be able to complete that first step, like a time frame.
Mm, the face mask is, what am I saying? The face mask I can buy it anywhere, literally. Like I can go to TJ Maxx and get like a little face mask. So that could be like the first step, just go to the store, just buy a face mask. And I can do that literally anytime. And then a massage, I can schedule that like literally online and just like literally dedicate. Why I am saying literally so much.
Say it
But
as much as you need to.
but I can do that basically anytime. Just gotta make sure the funds right for that. But I know I have the money for it because the things I buy, and I'm just like I could have did something else with this money. So I could for real dedicate money and energy into like scheduling regular massages. Pretty much anytime. But preferably after I pay rent.
Listen, I understand that for sure.
And then yoga, I know there's like a lot of free classes offered around like the city. I think the camp does like free yoga classes on Saturday or someplace. There's different places that do like free yoga classes if I want to just like get my feet wet with yoga.
And I'm
That would
pretty
be great.
sure. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, you're fine. I was done.
I was gonna say I'm pretty sure there's even like if there's not free classes offered around town, it's something you could look up on YouTube maybe
Right.
and
Right,
do at
right,
home
right.
yourself.
That's true.
Um,
Very accurate.
so my challenge to you is by the next time we meet, so would around this time next week be good for you?
Sure.
By the next time we meet, I want to see how much progress you've made with at least taking that first step towards those 3 goals with your self-care
Okay.
because that's going to be what prioritizing your self-care and putting yourself first. Like, those are what those action steps look like. All right? Do we got a deal?
Yeah, we do.
How do you feel about that?
I feel great. Because I do want to just be able to like do more things that bring me peace and comfort and just helps me cope with just life and living and all those good things.
Because you're so deserving of it. You work hard.
Thank you. I mean, I do. Agreed. So yeah.
Well,
Thanks. You did great.
okie dokie. Well, I will see you next week and we'll check back in.
Will do.
All right.